As you know, the Blackbelt Excellence that we're working on this month at KMMA is respect. And last week we talked about the fact that respect begins at home, that children need to respect their parents and their siblings, and respect is for adults too, and adults need to respect one another and even their kids. This week's lesson, I want to talk about respecting the most important person of all to you, and that is you. Sometimes, in the same way that I said last week that sometimes we treat a stranger with more courtesy and respect than we treat the people that mean the most to us, isn't it even true in our relationship with ourselves? Sometimes we will talk to ourselves in a way, we will say things to ourselves that we would never say to someone else for fear of hurting them. So the challenge this week, and what I want you to learn, and I want you to program, and I want you to challenge yourself in your mind is to only say good things and positive things to yourself. Instead of telling yourself what you can't do and why you can't do it and why you're not good enough, tell yourself what you can, why you can, who you are, and encourage yourself about all the great things that you are meant to do in life. We must also respect ourselves in the way that we treat our body. As our student creed says, we should not put things into our body that harm us. We want to do things that only make us better. And of course we're talking about, when we're talking to the kids this week, of course we're talking about things like drugs and alcohol and these negative influences on ourselves that we should definitely say no and steer clear of. But also, unfortunately we know that amongst our adolescents, so when we're talking to the juniors, that there's even people that disrespect themselves by harming themselves. There's things that we didn't hear of when we were kids, like cutting, that are other ways that people disrespect themselves. So the message, and I challenge all my instructors to make sure you give it to your audience in a way that's appropriate for the audience. If you're talking to a 7-year-old child, of course it's going to be different than if you're talking to an adult. And then we have our juniors in between. But all of them need to understand this important lesson about respecting ourselves. We need to respect ourselves so that we can be the best version of ourselves that we can be. Not just so that we feel better, but so that we are better. Because you cannot give that which you do not have. You cannot give respect and worth and empowerment to others unless you give those selves to yourself first.